Tonight, the future of a Kitchener encampment in the hands of a judge. A hearing wraps up over the region's effort to clear the site for a future transit hub. What a jury didn't know before a murder conviction. New reporting on the Elfgard Oughtred case as a judge decides on details for her sentence. Plus, on the move.
You have to move.
A replica warplane that's been a fixture on a Kitchener building for decades.
It's emotional, and I'm older, so I'll be ready to retire.
Is heading to a new home. Good evening. The future of the downtown Kitchener encampment is now in the hands of a judge. The third and final day of a hearing over a bylaw that the region wants to use to clear the property to get ready for a new transit hub has wrapped up with arguments from lawyers for encampment residents and for the region. CTV's Jeff Pickle was in court for these 3 days of this hearing. And Jeff, what can you tell us now about where this all stands?
Well, Tony, court today started early and it ran late, attempting to squeeze in all the testimony on this complex and wide-reaching case. The region says this is simply a hearing about a municipal bylaw and the ability for a municipality to clear people from a property. The encampment lawyers arguing this is much larger. It's about homelessness and what a municipality must do in order to protect their charter rights. These hearings come after a 2023 ruling from Justice Valente, who found clearing the Victoria Street encampment would be a violation of residents' Section 7 Charter's right to life, liberty, and security of person. That ruling says in order to remove the encampment, the region must be able to provide a suitable shelter alternative. A major part of the region's case relies on who they determine to be encampment residents. On April 23rd of last year, the region issued a new bylaw forbidding any new residents or structures on the site. So they deem only the 40 people living at the encampment on that date to be residents. Of those 40 individuals, they say all have been provided shelter or have moved on. Additionally, the region points to its housing budget that has tripled in the last 5 years and the commitment to build 2,500 new affordable housing units. When it comes to clearing the site, the region says they can do so with some limited or no disruption, saying you can trust the region to wind down the encampment responsibly, and the region does not want involuntary removals if they can be avoided. We have some time. The region says it needs the site to be cleared before construction on the downtown transit hub begins in October of this year. Lawyers for encampment residents say despite the region's testimony, nothing has changed since the 2023 Valente ruling. They say the region is overlooking an obvious solution, saying the region says it needs 100 Vic and there are no solutions, but there are solutions. In the short term, an alternative protected encampment is required. They say this would provide a low barrier option for those currently living at the encampment. The region has also indicated that if the judge is not satisfied they have done enough to meet their charter requirements, to give them a roadmap, saying we are not asking the court to legislate, we are asking the court to indicate where we have fallen short. Now, the hearing ended today around 4:30 with Justice Gibson saying he will proceed with all deliberate speed to come to a decision, but said due to the amount of evidence and submissions, it may take some time. Now, the region says they need to have the site cleared by the end of June to hand the property over to Metrolinx, but it's very much still up in the air if that will happen. Tony?
Okay. Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle with the conclusion of that 3-day hearing. And new details tonight on the trial of an elderly woman, which ended with a verdict on Friday night. A jury found Elfgard Oughtred guilty of second-degree murder in the death of her husband. What jurors didn't know was that earlier in the trial, Oughtred's lawyer asked for the proceedings to be stayed due to an incident weeks after her arrest. And it's possible it could impact her eventual sentence. CTV's Krista Simpson has details.
Elfgard Oughtred leaving court Friday evening after being found guilty of second-degree murder in the 2022 death of her husband, Gordon. Her fate decided by a jury of 11 people. Among the evidence they heard, testimony from Elfgard's daughter, Rita Hulaman, who told them that during a visit while her mother was in custody, Elfgard admitted she hit Gordon with a hammer, saying she was fed up with his drinking and abuse. What jurors didn't know was that during the trial, Elfgard's lawyer asked for the proceedings to be stayed due to an incident following that admission. Hulaman told police what Elfgard had said to her, and 2 detective constables arranged to go to Vanier Centre for Women in Milton to question her about it. In September 2024, they met her there and began recording the conversation on their devices. After they outlined Elfgard's rights, she asked to call her lawyer, and while the officers left the room during the call, their devices remained inside, still recording. Afterwards, Elfgard said she did not want to speak to police after all, though before leaving, one officer asked Elfgard about her admission to her daughter. Elfgard responded, "Yeah," in a way that appeared to acknowledge the admission, something the jury never heard. In the parking lot, one officer decided to delete his recording. The other did not, but had another officer cut out the portion with Elfgard's call before it was put into evidence. The judge described what happened as a breach of Elfgard's right to counsel, describing it as serious. Elfgard's lawyer asked that the proceedings be stayed, arguing her right to a fair trial had been compromised. The judge ultimately ruled that the trial should continue, saying, "Courts have consistently reiterated that a stay of proceedings is the most drastic remedy a court can order because it halts the prosecution and frustrates the truth-seeking function of a criminal trial. Victims of crime are deprived of their day in court. A stay is the atomic option which should only be resorted to in the clearest of cases." But in her decision, Justice Aubrey Hilliard also included a judicial censure of the 2 officers' actions, writing, "I condemn the actions of these 2 officers in the strongest of terms. Police officers swear an oath to uphold the Constitution of Canada and enforce the law. However, well-intentioned, failing to immediately disclose the recording of Ms. Oughtred's call with her lawyer and then deciding to attempt to delete, alter, and then suppress evidence of the recording of a solicitor-client privileged call was unlawful, breached Ms. Oughtred's constitutionally guaranteed rights, and amounted to dereliction of duty." Elfgard's conviction on second-degree murder comes with an automatic sentence of life in prison, but the judge will be able to determine how long she'll be ineligible for parole, a time period between 10 and 25 years. The judge writing in her decision she'll leave it up to the defense whether they will ask for a reduction of parole eligibility as part of the remedy for what happened in that Milton interview room. Elfgard is due back in court in July for the parole eligibility hearing. Krista Simpson, CTV News.
Okay, time for a first look at the weather. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon now for details. New week, new temperature swing.
New winter, in a way, Tony.
Well, I mean, let's not go that far, but it was a little bit of a surprise today. Had to throw those heavier layers back on.
Absolutely. You might have still been sleeping in a little bit. When I got up this morning, there were actually flurries out my window. So it felt very winter-like, but the good news was the sun came out pretty early in the day and continued to stay out for most of the day. As we take a look at our radar, you can see not a lot going on in the way of precipitation. We are getting relatively clear skies for the next 48 hours and beyond. So unlike last week where we saw so much rain, this week we're going to see a lot of sunshine. Temperatures as well, expect it to increase over the next couple of days. Right now, still very cool, 2 degrees, west by northwest wind at 13 kilometers an hour. Around the region, feeling very cool as well. Around 3 degrees for Sarnia, London, Hamilton, 7 in Windsor, 1 in Mount Forest. So overall, temperatures are still down, Tony, but by the end of the week, it's going to feel more like summer than spring.
All right. Ashley, thank you. We'll talk to you later. An update tonight on a case that drew international attention. A Mississauga man accused of helping more than a dozen people take their own lives. Late this afternoon, a judge announced that it's anticipated the matter will be resolved, meaning there will not be a trial. CTV's Mike Walker has this update.
Kenneth Law's trial was set to begin tomorrow, but a judge revealing late today this case will be resolved. This development comes after the defense has indicated the Crown will withdraw first-degree murder charges against Law, who was accused of selling lethal substances to people online who later took their own lives. Instead, the Mississauga man will be pleading guilty to 14 counts of aiding suicide.
An actual murder charge is a stretch, and it's difficult for the Crown to prosecute.
Criminal defense lawyers not affiliated with this case believe it would have been difficult for the Crown to prove intent and deliberation to commit murder.
I think in order to establish a murder conviction, the Crown would have to show individualized and particular instruction to commit the homicide, to commit the suicide. So ongoing instruction.
There was no proof here that he was overborne in his actions in order to eliminate the suicider's free will. He wasn't manipulating them or pressuring them. It's only when that manipulation or that pressure comes in to a level that is consistent with advocating for murder that a murder charge could be laid.
Law was facing 14 counts of first-degree murder and 14 counts of aiding suicide. Investigators have said the charges are related to 14 victims across Ontario between 16 and 36 years old.
What I imagine has happened is the Crown has looked at really what the reasonable prospect of conviction on homicides, how long it will take to prosecute, what the cost of prosecuting, and whether the Crown really wants to put the families through all of this, or whether there's a way that the case can be resolved in a way that's still a substantial sentence.
Police have alleged that Law ran several websites that were used to sell sodium nitrite and other items that can be used for self-harm, shipping them to people in more than 40 countries. He has been in custody since his arrest in May 2023. A conviction for a first-degree murder charge would have carried an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Under the criminal code, someone guilty of aiding suicide can face up to 14 years in prison.
That report from CTV's Mike Walker. Less than 2 days after the Premier's office confirmed the purchase of a private jet for government business, Doug Ford announced he has changed course. The Bombardier Challenger jet is now up for sale, even as the Premier tried to explain why he originally felt it was needed. Here's CTV's Siobhan Morris.
I understand that you may be passionate this morning.
Tempers hot in question period over the Ford government's purchase of a 10-year-old, $29 million jet intended for the Premier's business.
To say this was just a minor error is absolutely absurd.
Announced and defended by the Premier's office on Friday. By Sunday morning, Doug Ford said he's putting the plane up for sale.
It shows leadership when our Premier recognizes that a decision needs to be changed, and he changes it.
The Premier in Ottawa for a speaking engagement got an earful over the weekend.
I heard loud and clear from the people that this was not the time to purchase a plane.
Ford says he should have been out making the case for the jet, even as Ontarians struggled to get by.
I understand the cost of fuel is going up. I understand groceries are going up. I understand everything is going up and it's costly.
But critics say the plane purchase has marred Ford's For the People brand.
The Premier's personal preference to have his own private luxury jet is really speaking more about who he really is.
The Premier feels he's victim of a double standard.
I'm under scrutiny more than the Prime Minister, more than any Premier in the entire country. And the inconsistencies from the media are just mind-boggling to me.
Pointing out Quebec and the federal government have jets to move politicians. The reversal leaves the opposition with more questions than before.
We deserve to know how every dollar was spent on this greedy scheme, including the penalties, including the resale losses.
The original buy would have been approved by Cabinet.
I can't disclose conversations that occur at Treasury Board or at the Cabinet level to preserve Cabinet confidentiality.
And new changes to Freedom of Information laws speeding through the legislature may keep more insight in secret.
And the Premier has the gall to spend your tax dollars on a private luxury jet, and now he's trying to use legislation to hide it from you.
And that was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting from Queen's Park. An iconic Second World War Spitfire replica aircraft and Kitchener landmark is on the move. The full-size model sat atop KW surplus for almost 30 years, but it's now being donated and leaving Waterloo Region. CTV's Spencer Turcotte joins us now live from KW surplus, where a crane was brought in to help remove that replica plane today. Spencer.
Well, it's going to take some getting used to not seeing the plane as you drive along Victoria, but it will live on just in a new home. A crane lifting a plane, not something you see every day. A big operation requiring helping hands from high above and down below.
You have to move! We're going to remove the Spitfire off of the roof of KW surplus here. We're going to load it on this trailer that's just creeping up behind me.
The full-size fiberglass model of a Second World War Spitfire fighter aircraft has been perched atop the KW surplus store in Kitchener since 1997. But it was taken down on Monday as the store's former owner, Ray Whittemore, sold the business.
It's emotional, but the business is... I'm older, so I'll be ready to retire.
Whittemore is an active member of the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association based at the Tillsonburg Regional Airport, so he's decided to donate the replica Spitfire to them.
And all the rivets and all the imperfections are there as well. So the only thing is, there's no motor.
The Aircraft Association will design and construct a new memorial garden on airport grounds, with the Spitfire acting as a centerpiece. Despite all the hard work dismantling the display at KW surplus, it came at no cost to the Aircraft Association.
Getting the trucks, getting the volunteers, getting the crane. Everybody here is volunteered and the crane is being donated.
Several locals showed up to pose with the plane and take pictures. Even people who have worked on the replica came to say goodbye.
I actually feel quite sentimental. I actually painted that thing twice over the years while it was on the roof.
After arriving at the Aircraft Association, the replica will be repainted to resemble the colors flown by decorated Spitfire pilot and Guelph native Charlie Fox.
He's the man credited lately by the Canadian government as the man who took out Rommel during World War II.
As for the Second World War tank that sits on the KW surplus grounds, it's up for sale and will soon be gone too. But all eyes were on the sky today as a piece of history takes off for its next adventure. And the Spitfire isn't going directly to Tillsonburg. It'll stay at another facility in Woodstock until the airport can make room for its arrival. Tony.
Spencer Turcotte reporting live. Thank you. It's been 6 months since the disappearance of Eli Wood. Coming up, a suspicious fire, an ongoing investigation, and friends and family desperate for answers.
I'm Alexandra Hollick. Also tonight, the driving forces behind new safety measures that could be coming to Kitchener roads. What city staff are recommending to reduce risks and keep all road users safe. That story is just ahead.
Don't put your winter jackets away if you're headed out through the overnight hours tonight, but keep sunscreen handy because summer-like conditions are on the way. Those details with your full weather forecast coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
It's been 6 months since the mysterious disappearance of university student Eli Wood, who hasn't been seen since a fire at his Kitchener home that police say was an act of arson. Investigators say the case is still active, but family and friends say the wait for updates has been difficult. CTV's Hannah Schmidt reports.
6 months later, and still no clear answers in the disappearance of 25-year-old Eli Wood.
He's the type of person to put somebody else always first before himself and to always support anybody. I don't think in my whole entire life I have still yet to meet somebody like him. He's just so kind. He's like a ray of sunshine after like days and days and days of rain.
Eli was last seen on October 18th. The next morning, flames had engulfed his home on Major Street in Kitchener. Police have not said what sparked the fire, but arson and foul play may be involved. Although the case is still active, no new details have been released.
Every day that passes by is harder than the last because it's just more time has gone by, more questions, more theories.
For friends and family, each passing day without answers only adds to the uncertainty and the urgency to keep Eli's story in the spotlight. That uncertainty carries a heavy toll.
I feel really sad. I feel really angry. I feel really confused and lost. We really have nothing at all. We don't know anything.
Eli's family declined an interview, but continued to share messages online, urging people to keep sharing his story. A post written by his mother read in part, quote, "6 months ago, we got the call that Eli could not be located. Since that moment, our lives have been nothing but pain, fear, and unanswered questions. 6 months of torture, not knowing where our child is." As the case continues to gain traction online, Brock said the attention is a double-edged sword.
A lot of people online don't see this as sometimes real life. Like, this is, Eli is my friend. Eli is somebody's brother, somebody's child.
The family is offering a $5,000 reward for information.
All we want to do is bring them some answers and bring the family some answers. I want Eli to know that no one is going to stop looking for him, and we're going to continue searching for him no matter what.
Those closest to Eli say they're holding on to hope and won't stop looking for answers. Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Kitchener.
More safety measures may be en route to Kitchener roads. Tonight, a city committee is deciding whether to move forward with recommendations as part of a Vision Zero strategy aimed at eliminating serious and fatal collisions. Let's bring in CTV's Alexandra Hollick, who's been looking into this for us today. Alexandra, what has the city mapped out as far as further safety improvements go?
Well, drivers can expect to see more speed bumps and speed cushions coming to Kitchener roads, Tony. Other areas are in for a complete overhaul, something city staff say is needed to keep all road users safe.
Whether it's a bump in the road or a sign in plain sight, traffic calming measures are making their mark on the city of Kitchener. It's part of the city's Vision Zero strategy, aimed at eliminating serious and fatal collisions on Kitchener roads.
We experience a little over 1,000 collisions a year, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but it's really meant to make our roads safer.
Every year, city staff come up with a list of recommendations, highlighting roads in need of improvement.
It lays out additional plan, a layout of a number of streets that will have hotspot improvements, trail connection networks, as well as more safer street crossing methodology that incorporates more safety.
This year, staff identified 19 hotspots that could see new speed bumps and signs dotting the road. Other areas, including Wilfrid Avenue, Queens Boulevard, Westwood Drive, and King Street East, are in for a complete overhaul, while Glasgow Street is set to receive a sidewalk infill upgrade.
We target those areas specifically to try to bring speeds down and driver safety, increase driver safety, so that we can prevent collisions before they occur.
According to the staff report, there were 0 fatalities on city roads between 2022 and 2024. But last year, 2 people were killed.
Anytime it occurs, it's alarming, and there's always an immediate reaction in terms of what could be done to make sure that we can prevent these moving forward.
The city says it values feedback from residents, adding that its strategy is always evolving to bring and keep the number of incidents down to 0.
Road safety, it's always, we can get better, we can do more, and that's what we're striving to do.
As for when drivers can expect to see these new safety measures in action, city staff say they hope to squeeze installation into this year's construction season. That, of course, is if the recommendations are approved at tonight's meeting and passed by full council next month. Tony.
All right, Alexandra Hollick reporting. Thank you. A live look at downtown Kitchener now through our tower camera. A little bit of sun peeking through the clouds. Not bad as far as that side of the weather goes. The temperature, well, that's the other story. A little bit chilly today. Ashley's back to let us know what the rest of the week looks like in just a moment. Also coming up, across Ontario, varying signs on whether the worst of severe spring flooding is over. We've got an update on what people are facing in different parts of the province. And next, Waterloo Region's Sudanese community speaking out about what the World Health Organization has called one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Ashley's back with our look at the forecast. You are right in that I wasn't awake yet when the snow was happening here, but I was driving on the 401 yesterday and hit a random snow squall.
Yeah, so we saw flurries both yesterday and today, which we had forecasted on Friday. So hopefully it wasn't too much of a surprise for our viewers at home, Tony. But the good news is we are looking at very warm conditions come midweek and the end of the week. So temperatures are on the rise.
Do you know what I still love? I'm going to find the silver lining on this Monday. No matter what is thrown at us, snow-wise, temperature-wise, those sunsets are still getting later and later.
Oh my goodness, and the sun is shining. Let's take a look outside from Kitchener this afternoon. Check out that cloud cover and that beautiful sky. That looks like a spring sky to me, Tony.
Yeah,
I mean,
doesn't look threatening.
No, not at all. And I mean, we've had so much rain over the last week or so. You mentioned flooding a little earlier in the show. It's going to be a nice dry week for the most part throughout Waterloo Region. As we take a look at our future cast, we're going to get a better idea of what we're going to see, but essentially clear skies for the next few days. We're going to continue to get clear skies through the overnight hours. We might see a bit of cloud cover first thing tomorrow morning, but that's quickly going to move out of the way, and it's going to be a sunny day ahead. It's definitely a sunscreen and a hat week. A little bit more tolerable for some than last week when we had so much rain. And we're expecting, like I said, pretty much clear conditions through most of the work week. As we look to what's happening right now, very nice in Victoria, 18 degrees. On the other side of the Rockies, though, Calgary, sunny and 21, having a beautiful April day there. 13 in Regina with sunshine, 16 with sunshine in Winnipeg. As we head further east towards our nation's capital, it's 3 degrees in Ottawa as well as Montreal, and over on the east coast in St. John's, 9 degrees with a bit of cloud cover. Overall conditions not too bad, but we are feeling a little cooler here in southwestern Ontario. 2 degrees for Waterloo Region at the moment. Overnight, we are expecting temperatures to fall below seasonal for this time of year to around -4 with a 15-kilometer-an-hour wind. Tomorrow, however, that sun is coming back. Temperatures a little bit better than today. We're expecting a daytime high of 9, so not quite seasonal for this time of year, but definitely an improvement on today's 3 degrees. Normal for this time of year is 13. So we want to see those temperatures continue to rise, and check out this board. We are going to do just that. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast for Waterloo Region. By Wednesday, 17 and sunny. Tony, Thursday is the day of the week, in my opinion, 21 and sunny, and not bad for Friday. Just a 30% chance for showers and around a 20-degree day. So shaping up to be very nice. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar there, 19 for tomorrow. 20 with a slight chance for showers on Wednesday. 24 though for Thursday and Friday. So very, very nice there in southern Georgian Bay. Slightly cooler, but still not a bad spring. 10 degrees on Tuesday, 15 for Wednesday, 19 and sunny for Thursday. So sunscreen and hats is really going to be important this week. Okay, let's take a look at today's weather watcher picture sent in from William of this beautiful sunrise near Baden a few mornings ago. You were talking about sunsets, Tony, but check out this sunrise.
Look at those pinks and reds and
it looks like
yellows.
a painting. It's beautiful.
That might have been a day that turned stormy later, because you remember the old saying, red sky at night, sailor's delight, red sky in morning, sailor's warning.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I do believe this came in from Saturday, so that would check out, because we had a bit of rain on Saturday.
It is gorgeous nonetheless. Okay, Ash, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, we were just touching on this. High water, severe flooding, that's the other side of the weather story this week. It's been hitting some communities hard in Ontario. Cottage Country, Manitoulin Island, all along the Ottawa River, just to name a few places, and the danger isn't over yet. CTV's Adrian Gobriel is in Minden tonight.
A roadway swallowed by a rushing river. homes surrounded and submerged in water. For more than a week, residents in Minden, Ontario, north of Toronto, have been on the front lines, battling Mother Nature's wrath.
Yesterday, I talked to a lady that was helping a sandbag, and she lost her house, and she lost her fifth-wheel trailer, and this was a house that she had grown up in. And when I heard that, I just broke down into tears.
While the nearby dam is still bursting at the seams, Minden's mayor is hopeful that the worst of the flooding is now downstream.
Unless you get an immediate, going up to 20 degrees Celsius and pouring rain again, we should be able to move some of that water out to give ourselves some room.
The same can't be said in other parts of Ontario and Quebec.
You see here Welland Street right there. It doesn't look like a street, but it is. It's basically flooded, so when vehicles come out, we've put some sandbags here just to avoid some of the waves coming through our property.
Areas of rural western Quebec remain underwater, with the snowmelt still underway and concerns of more rain in the forecast that could make matters worse. In French River, Ontario, the mayor there says her community still isn't out of the woods.
It's going to get much worse. Give it another 4 or 5 days. It'll get much worse, and we anticipate this lasting for at least another 2 weeks, maybe more.
Officials here are working closely with Environment Canada to monitor the amount of water being released from lakes further upstream here into the Gull River as they try and protect this and other communities. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Minden, Ontario.
Waterloo Region's Sudanese community is reflecting on the now 3-year-long civil war in Sudan, which is considered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises by the World Health Organization. CTV's Kamil Karmali visited a church service in Kitchener yesterday to hear what members of the local Sudanese community are saying.
It is the power of prayer that allows this Sudanese community in Ontario to find some peace while a war rages on back home.
They feel frustrated and they are really sad because they still have people back home.
Montasir Nasir Warren, a newcomer to this congregation and to Canada, a refugee who escaped just as the war began, fleeing after spending over a decade reporting on human rights violations until the powers he was trying to hold accountable came after him.
My apartment was broken in by unknown people. My wife and my daughter, they were at very high risk.
It's now been 3 years since a civil war broke out, still raging on between the Sudanese armed forces and rapid support forces, while a staggering 14 million people have been displaced and more than 20 million facing starvation. The death toll impossible to count, with some estimates in the hundreds of thousands.
What we are witnessing is a deliberate genocide being conducted with the world leaders seeing it and nobody even wanting to think about the responsibility.
A Canadian human rights group now pushing Ottawa to adopt a 10-point action plan that includes recognizing the atrocities as genocide, sanctioning key players, and expanding immigration pathways to Canada. Also criticizing the Prime Minister for visiting the United Arab Emirates last year, a country that supplies weapons to one of the fighting forces.
A lot of this is entangled in regional aspirations to extract gold and access to the Red Sea and agricultural land within Sudan.
Although Canada has touted itself as a leading donor, recently pledging $120 million in humanitarian aid to mark the 3-year anniversary of the war. But for Canadians like filmmaker Mamoun Hassan, not enough attention is being given to the crisis in his home country.
I think it is honestly just a lack of value that we place upon for Black people and specifically Sudanese people.
Back at the Sudanese church, trust in God and Canada.
I want to say thank you, Canada, and thank you, Canadian,
to step up and continue to answer their calls for help. Kamil Karmali, CTV News, Kitchener, Ontario.
Later on CTV News, a home for gnomes, how the rest of Waterloo's community Christmas tree has been repurposed. High oil and gas prices, uncertainty, and the war with Iran are all behind the jump in inflation in Canada. Last month, the rate rose to 2.4%, with the key drivers being fuel and food. as the world struggles through the biggest energy crisis in history. CTV's John Venevali-Rao has more.
At gas stations across the country, prices came down this morning.
Cheaper gas. It's good for us.
As the federal government's pause kicked in, removing its excise tax on gas and diesel.
So today is a 10 cent is lower. Hope it's continued to decrease more prices.
They realize everybody's suffering quite a bit, and I think it's a great thing.
In Toronto, at some stations, the price fell below $1.60. This as the latest inflation data reflected the recent surge caused by the war in Iran. In March, gas was up 21%. Statistics Canada's biggest monthly jump on record, and it helped to drive up overall inflation to 2.4% in March, though that was still below what economists had forecast.
So everyone knew that we were going to see a big jump in the numbers for gasoline. We saw it at the pumps, and now it's showing up in the StatCan data.
At the grocery store, food prices also rose, up 4.4% on an annualized basis, while notably fresh vegetables were up almost 8% compared to last March, their biggest increase in more than 2.5 years.
Everything has gone up in price. I mean, absolutely everything.
You just have to be a lot more selective. Like, you have to plan a lot more in regards to what you want to buy.
StatsCan mentioning cucumbers, peppers, and celery, saying they were up notably because of production challenges in some supplying countries.
It'll affect every household, but lower income households, a bigger proportion of their total budget goes towards food. So this is particularly harmful.
Prices for food in restaurants grew at a slower pace, up 3.2% in March. Meanwhile, with the cost of transporting goods still more expensive, many economists say the ripple effects from that will be felt for months to come. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
All right, let's recap our top stories now. CTV's Leanne Evans joining us in studio with the details. And Leanne, the future of the encampment in downtown Kitchener in the hands of a judge now.
Right, Tony. The third and final day of a hearing regarding a Region of Waterloo bylaw wrapped today. In 2023, the region lost its case against encampment residents. A judge ruling the region could only clear the encampment after providing adequate housing for people living there. The region now says they have done enough, but it's something lawyers for encampment residents don't agree with. The region says they need to have the site cleared by the end of June to hand the property over to Metrolinx, but it's unclear at this time if that will happen. And new details tonight on the trial of an elderly woman that ended with a verdict Friday evening. A jury found Elfgard Oughtred guilty of second-degree murder in the death of her husband. What jurors didn't know was that earlier in the trial, Oughtred's lawyer asked for the proceedings to be stayed due to an incident weeks after her arrest, and it's possible it could impact her eventual sentence. Oughtred is due back in court in July for a parole eligibility hearing.
Okay, and online tonight, Leanne, details on a potential strike looming for Grand River Transit workers.
And it means riders will possibly have to find another way to get around the region. The region is negotiating with the union that represents around 850 Grand River Transit workers. To find out more about when a deal needs to be reached by, you can go on our website, scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or as always, it is ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Okay, Leanne Evans back with us in studio on this Monday. Leanne, thank you.
Thank you.
Big, bold, and built to last, a structured design group is creating custom domes for sports, events, and commercial use. On this week's Made Right Here, we head to the Farley Group in Puslinch.
Hi, I'm Lauren with the Farley Group. We're located in Puslinch, and we manufacture, install, and service air-supported structures across North America. So air-supported structures are used primarily for sports facilities, but can be used for all other types of applications. For example, we use ours in Puslinch for manufacturing, and we build them right here inside a dome. Our clients are largely schools, communities, sometimes municipalities, and sometimes private owners that want to build a recreational facility for private use or for the use of things like universities, varsity teams, and those sorts of activities.
They try to open from the outside of the dome.
So when a client is ready to begin a project, we work very closely with them on the design process with our project management team and our design team, as well as looking at their site layouts and the special aspects of their site that make their project unique. Our manufacturing process allows us to take individual rolls of fabric and transform them into an air-supported structure. We do this by rolling out lengths of fabric, precisely measuring and cutting them. putting them into a specialized piece of equipment that uses radio frequency to weld the fabric together, which then creates sections that become the dome on site. A dome can be comprised of anywhere from 3 sections to up to 10 to 12 sections. Once the sections are completed, they're shipped to the site and placed on specific locations that allow our expert service crew to unroll the sections, connect them, attach them to the grade beam, and then inflate within a matter of hours. Most recently, we've done a project with Laurier University in Waterloo. That dome was installed in January. Globally, we've done quite a few domes in the UK area, and one that would be most notable would be we've built 5 practice domes for the Wimbledon practice grounds a number of years ago. For me, I think what's important for what we do is that we're providing something for communities that improves their access to recreation. So it's nice to be able to create a facility, see something grow from even sometimes just a sketch on a piece of paper, to a drawing, to manufacturing, to then being able to watch it be inflated on site, and then within a few weeks being able to see community members participating in activities in the dome. That's the nice thing about the facilities that we build, is they're a lot more affordable for communities than building, a brick and mortar building that costs, sometimes 10 times as much as building a dome. So it's really that purpose and that impact is what's most important to us.
Looking to shake off a Game 1 loss. Just ahead, the Toronto Raptors look to bring their early 2026 playoff run back on track in Cleveland. The Toronto Raptors getting set to take on the Cavaliers in Game 2 of their first-round NBA playoff series tonight. Both the team and the fans know they will have to improve on their Game 1 efforts. CTV's Raheem Ladani sets up tonight's match.
When it comes to playoff basketball, Raptors fans know it's not about how you start, it's how you finish.
We always lose Game 1. Think about 2019, we lost Game 1 to the Orlando Magic, and we came back and won the championship.
While Game 1 definitely didn't go as the Raptors planned.
Pretty nervous, I'll be completely honest with you. They kind of got their teeth kicked in.
There's still plenty of optimism ahead of Game 2.
Good luck, and we'll be rooting for you.
Outside Scotiabank Arena, crews are setting up Jurassic Park, expecting a capacity crowd. Hopeful the team can fly back north with the series tied at 1.
I think we're going to do it tonight. I think we're going to get it done.
After dropping the first game to the Cavaliers, Raptors' RJ Barrett said, quote, "It sucked," and he knows how crucial it is to steal a game in Cleveland.
Definitely not relaxed. Sense of urgency. This game is very pivotal.
This is the Raptors' first playoff appearance in 4 years, but that pales in comparison to the NHL's Buffalo Sabres, who just won their first playoff game in 15 years. Antonello was there and says the Raptors can take a few notes.
They just got to gut it out, like everyone's kind of putting them off, right? So you just got to play your game, and you've got to the spot you're in for a reason.
The Raptors need to improve on both ends of the floor if they're going to win this series. But Scotty Barnes knows it starts on defense.
When they're driving to the paint, it can't be free dunks, free layups. Everything got to be contested.
Back in Toronto, fans are locked in.
Raptors in 7, baby.
Raptors in 7. Okay, well, go Raptors either way. Would love to see this go 5 games or more. And Ash, what's the weather going to be like tonight if people are out in the fan zone known as Jurassic Park watching that road game?
Well, I'll tell you what, the GTA is close enough to here that if you're headed there, you're going to want to bundle up. It's going to be a chilly night. The good news is tomorrow morning, we're going to start to see a warm-up. Those details after the break. A full lineup tonight, starting with E-Talk at 7, then back-to-back Big Bang Theory, a new show, Hockey Fanatics at 8:30, followed by the Quiz Balls at 9, and cap your night off with The Rookie at 10.
All right, Leanne's back with us one more time for a look at a story we're going to have later tonight. Leanne.
Well, Tony, the Kitchener Musical Society Band is celebrating the time it spent performing in the community with its 150th anniversary concert coming up in Kitchener this summer. Tonight, Colton Weens is heading to rehearsals to get a look at the band and hear from members about preparing for the historic performance. Tony.
Sounds great. And Leanne, before we let you go, I can't help but notice a bit of a sun glow to you today. Looks like you've been spending some time in the sun.
Hey, somebody had to take a little holiday.
Well deserved.
No,
It
was very nice to get a little bit of sunshine, and came back to some flurries this morning. Not sure what that was all about.
Yeah, hard turn there.
Happy to be back, though.
Thanks so much, Leanne. Great to have you back, of course, and a little well-deserved holiday for our friend and colleague. And
we're a little bit pastier than Leanne at the moment.
Dealing with slightly cooler temps than Leanne had.
And as you said, a hard turn on weather. As we take a look for tomorrow morning, things are going to be cooler first thing at around 6 a.m., still under the 0 mark, but by 10, 3 degrees and that sun shining. So a little bit warmer tomorrow, around a 9-degree high. It's not going to be as chilly, but you're going to want to bundle up, maybe a layers kind of day tomorrow.
Bit of a chill to start the day. That's okay. Finally for us tonight, an update to a story we first brought you. You first brought us late last year.
A local family who donated their front yard tree to the city of Waterloo for its Christmas display in Uptown Square is sharing the unique way they've transformed their lawn since.
Yes, this was the beautiful spruce which had outgrown its home on Crestwood Avenue in Kitchener. Owner Honey Oughtred wasn't stumped when it came to what to do with the new space she suddenly found herself with, transforming the remaining trunk into a gnome home.
And here it is. Oughtred's granddaughter Samantha sharing these pictures with CTV News today of the repurposed tree trunk and all the gnomes that now call it home sweet home.
I love it.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful update with us, because I remember she was talking to me about it on that morning, and I remember saying, please send me updates when it's all done.
Update us, let us know.
Love it.
Now you know, and Honey's probably got a lot more sun in her front room now.
Absolutely. Those gnomes are sun tanning tomorrow.
It's a win-win all around because the Christmas tree was beautiful in the square this year too.
Absolutely.
So very cool follow-up. That's our time. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here with you tonight at 11:30. See you then. Have a good night.